I have had the wonderful opportunity to visit absolutely every single state here in Germany and tons of tiny towns, and these are 10 of my favorites. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Jenna. I am an international who has been living here in Germany since 2014. I usually create videos geared towards expats or perhaps Germans who are interested in hearing about what it's like to live here in Germany as an international. But today, this one's for not just the expats, not just the locals, but also anybody who's planning on coming here and visiting Germany. First things first, if you are planning on moving to Germany, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I produce videos every week that go through all of the steps and all of the things that you should really know when getting started. I also created a program over on lifeingermany.com that absolutely every international moving to Germany needs to check out. So definitely go do that now if you haven't already. Otherwise, I'm going to share with you today some of the most amazing places that I've been here in Germany. And I'm not talking about Neuschwanstein or going to Oktoberfest or the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin. No, I am talking about some really genuinely unique and incredible places here in Germany to visit. Let me start with HARZ. And I want to start with HARZ because it is a mountainous region, as mountainous as it gets in the north of Germany, that is absolutely stunning. And most people think of the Bavarian Alps, but what people don't know is that we do actually have a very, very beautiful area here in the north of Germany as well. You will find amazing views. There are some really, really stunning hikes here. They also make some of the best pea soup in all of Germany. Another amazing thing if you're going to go to the HARZ region is to check out their Titan suspension bridge. This is actually the world's longest suspension bridge and it is a ton of fun to hop on. You also need to check out, of course, the steam railway, which takes you up to the Brocken, which is one of the highest points in the region. And you can get some amazing aerial views, and the steam train alone is a really, really cool experience. And of course, you'll find numerous little half-timbered homes scattered around the HARZ area. You've got Quedlinburg or Wernigerode, and all of these tiny little towns are just so beautiful and so quaint and really give you this, I think, German feeling when you think of traveling to Germany and getting that true, authentic experience. Which leads me to my next destination, and that is Garmisch-Partenkirchen. And I know before you get mad at me and say Garmisch-Partenkirchen is not a secret, and it's definitely got its fair share of tourists. Yes, this is true, but when we're talking in terms of visiting Berchtesgaden, which is not so far away, versus visiting Garmisch-Partenkirchen, I went to both places in the same week and found Garmisch-Partenkirchen to be a lot more remote, a lot more unique, and a lot more relaxed in terms of not being surrounded by so many tourists when you're there visiting. Berchtesgaden, if you don't know, this is where Hitler had his base, which was used exclusively by members of the Nazi Party for the government and social meetings. And this place is called Eagle's Nest. So you've probably heard of it before, but I believe that this is what brings a lot of the tourists into Berchtesgaden versus Garmisch-Partenkirchen. And Garmisch-Partenkirchen is so stunning, and they have some spectacular mountains, beautiful lakes, amazing forests, and also tons of wide open space and animals that you can visit. It is just breathtaking. Let me also mention, you're gonna say again, Jenna, this is a very touristic place, but it's not always the first place that people think of when they come to Germany, and that is Rothenburg ob der Tauber. It just depends on when you go. I went on a Sunday in November, I believe, and the city was empty. Here you'll find half-timbered houses. This is the home of Käthe Wohlfahrt. I hope I'm saying her name right, but this is basically one of the world's most amazing Christmas stores in my opinion. And of course, you'll also find delicious German cuisine there and an amazing cultural walk on top of the old walls of the city. So it's definitely worth a visit, especially if you're in the area. So I know I had to throw in Garmisch-Partenkirchen and Rothenburg ob der Tauber because these two are not always super crowded and super full with tourists. You just have to find the right times to go. But there are also more small, charming towns that I would say not many tourists know about. And my favorite, I've mentioned this before in another video, I will link it above if you want to hear more information, is MONSCHAU. And MONSCHAU is an hour drive for me, so this is probably why it's one of my favorites. But Honestly, it's worth like a 5-hour drive just to get there. Monschau is close to the Eifel National Park in Germany, where you'll find this stunning little tiny town in the middle of a valley. You can even sleep in an old castle, which is the Jugendherberge, or the youth hostel, and this is what I did with my cousin when I visited. And my favorite time to go is during the winter season. The Christmas market here is one of my favorite in Germany. However, there was actually a Christmas series released last Christmas on Netflix that was filmed in Monschau, so I'm wondering how secret this destination will actually be in the upcoming years. But Monschau in any season is definitely worth a visit. And then you've got Freudenberg, which is in NRW, or North Rhine-Westphalia, and they have got these beautiful half-timbered houses. I believe it's called the Alter Flecken, and it's a historical landmark. And if I'm being entirely honest, Freudenberg isn't a place with a lot to see and do. However, I think I sat there for like an hour just admiring how beautiful the homes looked, all scattered together in this perfect winter setting. If you're an Instagrammer or you just love that perfect shot, this is one place that you cannot miss. If you're headed somewhere and Freudenberg is on your way, I would definitely suggest making a stop there. I actually did a tour of the Rhine River with my family once and then came back up to Düsseldorf and made sure that we checked out Freudenberg on the way back. There's also the VÖLKLINGER Hütte, and although Saarland is not my absolute favorite region in Germany, this old industrial plant is amazing, and it's also really fun to explore. So if you're a fan of old ironworks, you might also enjoy the ZECHE ZOLLVEREIN in Essen, Germany, where you'll also find events, exhibitions, art installations, and even a skating rink in the winter, which turns into a swimming pool in the summer. I know that if you haven't been to Neuschwanstein, then you're probably craving to take just a sneak peek, no matter how much you know that it is absolutely typically packed with tourists. And that's fine. But another not as popular, but just as stunning castle is Burg Eltz. And here you can explore the castle grounds and the amazing scenery around it. You can stop at the cafe. And Burg Eltz is very close to the Mosel Valley. And the Mosel Valley is somewhere that I have been way too many times, to be honest. It is an amazing place. You can cycle along the entire river, or you can rent a car or bring your own car and drive along the entire valley. And you can also visit all these beautiful little towns like Cochem or Koblenz, Traben-Treerbach, Bernkastel-Kues, and so many more. Really, like every 5 minutes you're gonna find another beautiful little town that you're gonna say like, oh, stop the car, I wanna go see it. And just over the hills of the Mosel Valley is the Geierlee Suspension Bridge. And similar to the Titan, as I mentioned in HARZ, the Geierlee is also one of the longest bridges here in Germany. And a little fun fact, apparently 20% of people who actually go and visit the Geierlee Bridge do not actually cross it. I've been 2 or 3 times now, and I definitely cross it every single time. But I can imagine if you're scared of heights, this is a very long, very high up bridge. And if you were in the Mosel area and you were visiting Burg Eltz and you are a fan of castles, I mean, of course you've come to Germany, the land of beautiful castles, you are going to have to go on a trip and visit as many castles as you possibly can within the shortest amount of time if you don't have all that much time on vacation. And if you would like to do that, I would 100% recommend exploring the Middle Rhine River region. And this is where you will find a ton of castles. It's also not far from the Mosel Valley, so if you would like to do that, this is also something that you can add onto your agenda to see and do. Of course, the river is much bigger, not as romantic as the Mosel River might be. However, you will get incredible views of the Rhine River and be able to explore these castles that are both on land and in the water. And one of my favorite cities in the whole of Germany is Schwerin. It's also probably one of the hardest cities to say in German. But when I was in Schwerin, I didn't catch the best of weather. But it is the state capital of Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, and it's well known for the beautiful Schwerin Castle, as well as the lake that it sits on. The old town is also definitely stunning too, and definitely worth a weekend trip. I've only been there once, but I cannot wait to go back, especially during perhaps a nicer day. And last, but certainly not least, would be the Black Forest. And I'm speaking more specifically a small town within the Black Forest, which is Freiburg. And many of you, if you've watched a couple of my videos before, will know that I actually spent 8 months there, my first 8 months living in Germany. So of course, Freiburg holds a very special part in my heart. But the weather there is fantastic. It's also known to be one of the more sunny places to visit here in Germany. And you are just surrounded by these stunning, amazing, incredible, huge forests. So we could wake up in the morning, hop on our bikes or hop in the car, and in 15-20 minutes we would be in the Black Forest, exploring these winding little roads and getting some killer views. It was not so easy for me to pick just 10 when I have visited every single state and every single capital here in Germany. But these were definitely the ones that I would recommend if you haven't been to Germany before, or if you already live here, because there are probably many of you that haven't actually been to all 10 of these locations. So if you haven't, I would definitely recommend it. Of course, not during the pandemic, but I created this video at this moment because I also miss being able to explore and go anywhere I want in Germany and embrace this amazing country that I live in. So I hope I've inspired you to write some of these down on your list for your next grand adventures here in Germany. I would also really love to know, if you live in Germany, which I'm sure many of you already do, where would you suggest I go and visit? I should also mention that I also renovated a camper in the spring, which means my family and I can take the camper out. So if you've got some really cool spots to take the camper as well, I would love to hear your advice. I am very much looking forward to being able to get out of this lockdown situation and just be able to explore Germany. Of course, I'm being patient, but I am very excited to create this future bucket list of mine of amazing places that I can go and explore here in Germany. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, wie normal, vielen lieben Dank.